Welcome back to the DMD's That Are Wrong YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and today I'm joined by Dylan. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Just getting excited for the draft here and kind of putting together some of our last little videos before that all pops off. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's exciting. So, um, yeah, you want to kind of spill the details on this video?
Oh, yeah. So, well, as you can see from your screen right here, obviously we're going to be going over part 2, which is 5 more 2022 NFL draft sleepers, according to us. So, take it for what it's worth. You can do what you want with this information. You can either agree with us or completely disagree with us. Doesn't matter. But these are some of the guys that we're looking at, and guys that we think that can, obviously they don't get the hype as the round 1 to 2 guys, but guys that can go into the NFL and make an impact right away. So we'll
Yeah,
jump right into the video. And before we do
yeah.
that, though, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, go watch our first one of this. Link will be in the description below, or just check out the channel. Either way.
Yeah, and we don't have like a specific system in this. We're not, saying these are fringe to be even in the NFL kind of guys, or they're going to be second round picks or whatever. These are just kind of spread out across just the talent level. Some of these guys you may have heard before. Some of the guys you may not have heard of before. So just 5 more guys that we haven't heard talked about enough. Wanted to kind of give them some attention right before the draft.
Yep. So, with the first person on this list, Dylan, you're going to be taking this one. It's going to be
Smoke Monday. So starting off, best name in the draft by far. But that's one of the things that kind of made me look at him, to be honest. But he has a lot of great intensity. Is kind of the bullet point I threw up there as like the biggest thing in his game. He is just always around the ball. He is trying to lay the lumber, and he played cornerback slash safety for Auburn, and had a lot of great plays. Oh, you kind of switched to your desktop there.
Sorry.
You're good. He's got a lot of great plays, honestly, where he's got interceptions, he's got pick sixes, and things like that. He worked well in college, but with his speed, 4.52 is not the worst. But even on the field, he didn't seem like he was keeping up with everyone on the field. So that's why I think he will move to linebacker in the NFL, and he has a lot of experience getting in the backfield, making those tackles and everything like that. He's an electric player. I don't know what more to say about him, but I mean, 6'2", 207, that's right in the size of a linebacker nowadays, and have him covering running backs and tight ends coming out of the backfield, and I think you get a good player, and that intensity on special teams is going to lock him into an NFL team right away. So I really like this guy, and he definitely doesn't get the respect he deserves.
That's fair. Yeah, Smoke Monday. Love the name. And I can tell he's a big Auburn guy there with all those sweatbands on his arm.
The Jamal Adams look, yeah.
Drip. His mouthpiece is pretty drippy, though, but...
Yeah.
Well,
and my favorite number, so
21.
Nothing to hate here.
No. Well, we'll move on to the next one here, being Marcus Jones. He's a corner out of Houston. He's a great return specialist. That's going to be one of his main things that people are looking at. I think he had 9 return touchdowns. I don't know if it was just last year or in his career, but that's still quite a few. That's almost Devin Hester-esque, if you know what I mean. Here on the 40, we have 4.72. He doesn't have an official 40
He's faster than that.
Yeah, I think he's faster than that. I found 2 different ones. It was a 4.72, and then the other one was a 4.38. So he doesn't really have any official times because he did not participate in the combine due to shoulder injuries, and he did not participate at their pro day due to surgery on his shoulder. So doesn't really have an official 40 time, but 4.72, 4.38, he's faster than 4.72. Even if he does run a 4.72, it translates way faster on the field. He's a great slot corner. and he has great athleticism just all around. And he's 5'8", 174, little undersized for a corner, but I mean, as long as you're scrapping, you got heart, you can, and you play with your heart out, you can make anything work. And obviously, he's made it work in the college level. So
Yeah, one thing I want to add on here is when I was watching Marcus Jones throughout the draft process, I was like, man, this is the ideal cornerback for Chris Ballard, the GM for the Colts. He loves Kenny Moore. He recently took like 2, 3 years ago, I think 2 years ago, Isaiah Rodgers, who, if you put Isaiah Rodgers and Marcus Jones on the field together, you couldn't tell who's who. They're so similar, and they've produced for us. So I think Marcus Jones can produce very well. The size is going to help him in the slot, honestly, because he'll be shifty. He'll
true.
kind of change direction pretty quick and stuff like that. And his return ability will help him be on a roster. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really like Marcus Jones.
Yeah. Moving on to the next guy here, we are going to Austin Allen.
So yeah, Austin Allen. You're a Nebraska fan.
Kinda.
He's yeah, he's a big target.
Oh yeah.
Watching Nebraska last year, obviously they are not the air raid type. They like to run the ball with the quarterback and then eventually pass the ball if they get to that. And Austin Allen lined up in line, kind of more as the outside tight end when he lined up in two tight end tight sets. But he is a very fluid athlete. Is kind of the biggest thing about him. He blew it up at the draft combine and just shocked people. One of the things to know is he had a 3-cone drill at 7 seconds, which is kind of like the threshold of a great athlete. And to put that into perspective, DK Metcalf, who is like 4 inches shorter than him, ran a slower 3-cone drill. So this guy's got a lot of flexibility, fluidity in his movements. He just hasn't put it into production, and whether that's just him being raw or if that's the offense that they ran at Nebraska, who knows? But
Bingo.
he'll develop, and that size is ideal.
Oh yeah, 6'8", dude. That's incredible.
Yeah. Ran a 4.8 40, which I mean is not the slowest ever, but
Yeah.
he's still a fluid athlete, so
Oh, yeah.
you gotta love that.
Yeah, watching this dude live, because sadly I wasted most of my Saturdays in the fall down in Lincoln watching these bums play. But Austin Allen, dude, watching him live and some of the catches he makes is incredible. The dude has great hands. He has a big target. You have a big target to throw to, obviously being 6'8". He has long arms. I can't remember what they said. 34 or something like that. 35-inch arms or some crazy thing like that. But the dude makes unbelievable plays when you need him to. He's pretty clutch. He had 38 receptions last season for 604 yards, I think, or 38 receptions for 604 yards or something. So really turned it on last year. But I like Austin Allen, obviously being kind of a biased Nebraska fan in a sense. But I think he can do great things for teams that need that big body tight end that can go out there and be that big target over the middle or in the red zone. So I like Austin Allen.
I hope he keeps the number 11 because it correlates with AA for Allen, Austin Allen, first letters. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, moving on.
Yep. Tricron. I wanted to say it again.
Taekwon.
Taekwon Thornton. There we go. Got it that time.
Yeah. He is fast.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, fastest at the combine this year, and 6'2". I mean, he's a stick, but he's fast.
Yeah, well, that's what they said about Devontae Smith too. So we saw how well that translated to the NFL. Pretty good.
Well, he runs routes very well.
Yeah, but obviously Taekwon Thornton runs routes great too, because bullet point number 1 is great separation, and he has sticky hands, great catch radius. I think this guy can come into the league and be an instant deep threat just with that speed, his vert, and his hands.
Well, I mean, if he can catch the ball better than Philip Dorsett, I feel like this is a better a better version of that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This might have Patriots written all over it.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding. We
Yeah.
don't draft receivers. Are you kidding me? We draft quarterbacks and then turn them into receivers. Julian Edelman,
For
Jacoby Myers.
real.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, this dude's unbelievably fast. If you haven't watched his 40, go watch at the combine. His first unofficial time was 4.21 seconds,
Which would be ridiculous.
which would tie the record or be the
It'd
record.
be a record. It would be a
Yeah,
record,
I
yeah.
think he'd beat John Ross by zero point zero 0.01 seconds if that 4.21 was true. But
Yeah.
he's still unbelievably fast, and he has all the tools you need to be a wide receiver in the NFL. I just think the wide receiver class is so insane this year, and he's just not getting the hype that some of the other guys are getting. He just lacks in a few areas of his game. He doesn't have the full route tree, but that can also be learned and developed over time. But I think Taekwon Thornton, getting him in like the fourth round, maybe probably somewhere around there projected. That'd be a steal for this guy, especially for everything you can use him with that speed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Moving on to the next one,
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's do it.
Think this is our last one.
Yep.
Tyler Beatty. First of all, he's a baddie, Beatty
Yeah.
baddie. You gotta love the name. But watching his tape, he's another electric person to watch. He's 5'8", so he's close to the ground, but he doesn't let that kind of hold him back at all. He is a great runner between tackles, outside tackles, in open space. He just understands how to run the ball, and he'll be immediate in the NFL in that capacity. But he also can go through tackles, which at that size is pretty impressive. And also, as a if you look for someone that can take a dump off, screen or something like that, and just make things happen, he has that ability with him as well. His size, I think, is going to kind of hold him back in some prospects or some scouts' eyes, but I don't think it should. I think he's definitely got a lot of weight for his size. He's almost 200 pounds. I would be surprised if he's not right now at 200 pounds. Um, and a lot of that is muscle. So I think he's fun to watch. He's another guy where I liked his name, so I kind of watched his highlights, and watched his highlights made me want to watch his actual game tape, and kind of get deeper into what he does. And I think he'd be a really good fit on a lot of teams, especially kind of like that 49ers scheme, the Dolphins, where you're looking for great runners. He would fit great in that
Mm-hmm.
area. So yeah,
I
Tyler the Batty Beatty.
I agree.
But yeah, I think that about wrap. Oh, yeah,
Nope.
but that
Yep.
about
That's it.
wraps up the five more sleepers in the 2022 NFL draft. Obviously, there's a ton more. There's gonna be players that aren't even drafted that are gonna make rosters, and that's always fun to see. So
Mm-hmm.
stay tuned. When we do our draft stuff, we're also going to be reviewing undrafted free agent signings and kind of going through that kind of stuff. So we might see some of these players there.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully not. Hopefully they get drafted. But we'll continue to kind of peer into what NFL scouts are showing with what they do in signings and drafting. So stay tuned to all that good stuff. Have any more? Do you have any other thoughts to add to the whole sleeper video before we sign out?
Nah, but just stay on the lookout for some of these guys we're mentioning, because I can guarantee you most of them will be drafted. So we're gonna
Yeah,
be right.
yeah, and some of the things too to look out for the draft is when you hit rounds 4 through 7, specifically 5 through 7, I would say you're going to see GMs draft like punters, kickers, and all these kind of players that are going to be more like preferred undrafted free agents. Essentially, they just want to make sure they have them in the building. But special teams is a huge factor in those 5 to 7 rounds. So
Mm-hmm.
any player that can show he has value in special teams is going to have a lot more value in those later rounds, because that's what's going to keep people on rosters, especially if they aren't viewed as a franchise changer for their team. So
Yeah.
that's just one thing when you're watching the draft. That just kind of clue you in on why you might hear some of these names that just you've never heard of before. So yeah.
But
But other than that,
yep.
drop that like if you haven't already. You've watched this far. Why not? You
Smash the
put
like
up with
button too while you're at it.
yeah, smash it. You put up with Mike long enough. You put up with me and my red beard long enough. Drop a comment if you think of any other sleeper that you know we're even sleeping on,
Mm-hmm.
and just watch out. We're going live for the draft,
Oh
so
yeah.
about 5:30 our time, which is Mountain Time, so 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We'll be on YouTube live for the first time.
6:30 Central Time. I think that's
6:30 Central
I
Time.
think that's where
We
I'm at.
covered all the time zones.
I think that's what I'm in.
All right.
But we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Yeah. See you later.